Welcome back, everyone. Thank you again for tuning in to Liftoff. I've got a very special guest. We have a very special guest, Karen Landry. So, Karen, thank you so much for joining us.
I appreciate that, Derek and Keith. Thanks so much for having me.
Hey, Karen. Thanks for joining us.
For those who don't know you and don't have the privilege of getting to know some of your background and story, could you share some of your background in real estate, how you got into real estate, and just a little bit about yourself?
Sure, happy to. So it was a very long time ago when I entered this business, 37 years. And I have been with REMAX for 33 of those years in the greater Boston market and new to the California market. So I now have a bi-coastal team, which is pretty exciting. I'm reinventing my career as my midlife crisis, so to speak. But it's fun, a little challenging at times for fun. But I got into real estate because it was always something that fascinated me. I know a lot of people say they got into the business because they love people. I don't like people every single day, and I don't think any of us do.
Yep.
But there are a lot of people that restore our faith in why we do this job every day. And that's the most important thing. And I think the way we carry that experience and provide that level of service is what we get back in return. So I think that we create our own path sometimes, and we just have to work a little harder at it every single day. And that's why I've been able to, be at this point 37 years later.
That's great. I've gotten to know you over the last year as you've expanded your team to the Southern California area. And the reason you did so is both of your children, that aren't children anymore, moved here, and you saw the future, that their lives were going to be here and potential grandchildren and all those things. So that's one of the big reasons you wanted to do that. But being a superstar in Massachusetts, you didn't want to leave that success behind you. But I've always been fascinated by the thinking that you have done and put in your business and treat it like a business, and that you have so many ways to be successful here. Just the other day, you and I were talking. I believe you said you've closed 76 transactions year to date in Massachusetts.
And now officially 77 as of this weekend.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's phenomenal. And I can't wait till you're doing that many here. Just had a closing here. Congratulations.
Well, it's coming up. It's coming up.
Oh, yeah. You're almost, well, by the time everybody sees this, it'll be closed. And you've got many more things developing. And there's so much that we could talk about, Karen, but some of the things that really make you distinctively different, there's two main things I'd like to focus on today. You and I have talked about a variety of things. We talked about the difference between service and the difference. We all strive to give great service. I think some do better than others, right? And you do a great job of that. But you say it's more than that. And tell us a little bit about that and some of the distinct ways in which you manifest that.
Sure. I read a great book recently called Unreasonable Hospitality. And one of the quotes that I thought was true to everyday life and what we do in our business is that service is black and white, but hospitality is color. And that's true because what we're doing is selling a lifestyle. We are working on people's emotions. So it's about the experience. And everyone says, oh, we need to be relationship based, not transactional. That's not a cliche. This is a huge deal to people. I mean, the deal can go completely perfectly the entire process. But at that closing table, if there's a problem, that's what they're going to remember. If it's a bad transaction along the way, and then it's completely resolved at the end and everyone's happy, they're getting in their house, there's a breath of relief, that is what they're going to remember. When there are problems in my transactions, if it's something my buyer or seller doesn't need to know immediately, I solve that problem before I tell them about it. That is my job. I am not going to leave them hanging on a Friday afternoon with something they can't fix or can't be fixed until Monday. I'm going to try to resolve it first, and I'll tell them about it afterwards and be honest with them. But if there's nothing they can do, why put that added pressure and stress on them? That's hospitality, right? That's taking the reins of the transaction and doing your job and giving the client an excellent experience. You are their trusted real estate advisor, And you need to be that person.
And
You
you're
need
the
to act,
queen.
you can't just label it.
And you're the queen of having systems in place and doing the little things all added up to give a Nordstrom experience or
Mhm.
Ritz-Carlton experience. Tell us a little bit about, for example, on the front end, you have an opportunity to go meet someone at a listing presentation. It might be a competition and it might not be. What's one of the things that you do when you meet those folks?
Well, I feel like the second I walk in the door, that is the beginning of my gift giving. I'm a very big gift giver. It's the thing I love to do. And I try to find a reason to send out 5 gifts a week, literally. That is my marketing plan. I would rather never spend money on Zillow again. I would rather invest that back in the client. So when I walk into a listing appointment, I always walk in with a box of pastries from a local bakery. Folks will open the door and they'll say, "Oh my gosh, you didn't have to bring anything." And I'm like, "Oh no, I appreciate you inviting me into your home, but you have to understand, I grew up in the South and I'm Portuguese. We like to feed people.
Yeah.
Now we've broken the ice and people feel they owe someone something when they get a gift. So it's almost like subliminally, you're asking for their listing in return. So that is like the initial point of contact with my
Right
people.
there. So sorry to cut you off, but right there,
Yeah.
you're ahead of virtually anybody you're competing with.
Mhm.
So all things being
Oh, for
equal,
sure.
you built a little bit of a subconscious obligation. And
Mhm.
people want to work with people that they know are good at what they do, but they also want to have that trust and that connection. So that's a great way to get started. So continue.
Yeah, so then if I win the listing, which I will say 90% of the time I do, there's always that broker who's going to discount you or promise the moon, right? And they're going to
Yeah.
believe them. We all deal with that. But it could be as simple as after the open house, they've left their house all weekend long. Now, in the Boston market, we list a property on a Wednesday. We'll do a twilight open house when it's not daylight savings time. And then we will do an open house Saturday and Sunday and allow showings all day Saturday and Sunday so that by Monday we can have an offer deadline and we're pretty much sold. We're usually never more than 6 days on the market from our Wednesday come on market to Monday, finalize an offer and change MLS on Tuesday. With that said, I will leave a bottle of wine after the last open house with a note that says, "Thank you so much for getting your house ready. I know it was a lot of work for you. Now you can relax the rest of the weekend and let me take the reins of moving this forward." And it's just a small thing. It can be, if it's white wine, I leave it in the refrigerator and they open the refrigerator door and there it is. Or it's just on their counter if it's red. And I try to listen. I think that's the really important part of our job is listening and not talking so much because then I can figure out, do they drink? Don't they drink? Do they like red? Do they like white? And that's even like with my buyers. When my buyers' offers are accepted, I call them and I say, "Hey, I have a really important question. Are both of you available to come on the phone?" "Yeah, we're both available. We're right here. What's the question?" "Well, do you like red or white wine? I want to know what I'm bringing when I come to your first housewarming party." And they're screaming on the other end. But right then, I just found out, do they drink? Is it red? Is it white? It serves multiple purposes. They're excited. As soon as the purchase and sale is signed, because at Boston, it's two-step, or right after RPA has been finalized and earnest money has been done and the contingency is removed, I send out biz box moving boxes. They're branded to me. My photo is on them. My contact info is on them. And they are so surprised. They say it's one of the best gifts they can receive because it comes with the glass dividers and the bubble wrap and the pen, all the little things they don't think about. And the nice part is that they don't throw them away as quickly. Sometimes I see them on social media where their kids have drawn pictures and mustaches and hats on me, which is great because that's advertising, right? And let's face it, their family and friends are helping them move and they're seeing your name over and over again. So that's like the next step of what I offer. And then there's sometimes, if I think it's going to be a home inspection that's a little tricky, I will leave a bottle of wine for the seller and I'll say, "Okay, Mr. and Mrs. Myers, this is not for you. I'm sorry. But I need you to leave this on the kitchen table or on the countertop and leave a little note to the buyer saying you're so appreciative that they love your home as much as you do. And here's some of the things you enjoyed in the community. Here are some things that the neighbors do. And this wine is for you to show you our gratitude." Now, you know what happens? That buyer that's coming in, you're not going to ask so much for the little things anymore because they're going to say, oh, you know what? They were so nice. I don't want to ask them to do that. So now you've created goodwill and it's not so black and white. Those contracts are black and white, but there are real people on each end of those transactions. So it just humanizes it. I like to use that word a lot. Humanize the transaction. So that's just like when you start a do.
I love that because two things that jump out to me, Karen, is that number one, you have a very intentional system, but it's not a system that feels cold or impersonal. It feels very intentional in the way that you are prioritizing the relationship, going that extra step to show them that you care through the way that you give. And what I love about that too is that whether it's the boxes or whether it's the bottle of wine, it's something physical that they can hold on to and to feel that you truly care about them. Because it's one thing to just be like, oh, I'm going to do my job, which is great. And another thing to prioritize the person and prioritize the whole experience, like you were talking about. It feels very white glove. And it does speak to how you're really standing out from other people. So I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people talk, right? People
Yeah.
always talk. So
That's
you
what
want
you
to target
want.
the right piece.
Now, fast forward to moving day, move out day, or move in day. I know you do a couple simple but thoughtful things that I believe are just wonderful. That really helps. So talk a little bit about that.
So for my sellers, I take all of the professional photos that I had made of their property and I put it into a memory book and I have it published, so to speak, whether it's Shutterstock or not Shutterstock, but Shutterfly or a CVS or whoever makes those books. Sometimes I'm just looking for deals on them. So they get that and they really love it. And I try to lift some photos of their family on Facebook, in the house, in the yard, having a party, having a birthday. And then I'll try to find some little sayings to go on some of the pages. And so it blends their personal life with the professional photos and it becomes a memory book of their life in that home. For my buyers, it's like Christmas Eve, I get to be Santa Claus before the final walkthrough. I'll go in and I'll stock the refrigerator with champagne and with water. I'll make sure the kitchen has a hand towel, trash bags, scissors to open packages. People forget their trash bags and they're emptying out boxes, right? I make sure every bathroom has soap, toilet paper, hand towels. The children's bathrooms get the little hoodie towels with the animals from Target and the little bathroom soaps that they can write like crayons on the wall or the bath bombs. And I keep a whole bookshelf of all of these supplies and I'll go to Home Goods for the recyclable bags. So I'll go, okay, this was a two bathroom or a 2.5 bathroom. They have 2 children. And I just start grabbing off my shelves and I fill the bag. So it's already done. Toilet paper towels, all of these things. And I keep cases of water in my garage. And all I have to do is load up my trunk. And I just put all these things out before they get there. And I have a little card that says Home Essentials by Landry and Company. That way there is no question who put that on. I even have little round stickers. You can just buy any Avery sticker that's round and do the template, put your logo on it. And then you can fold your toilet paper just like they do in the hotels with the little sticker with your logo on it.
Nice.
It's the little touches, but it's so fun. It's so fun. And people really do appreciate it. And I always give a gift card. A lot of times I'll do an Uber Eats and say, I know you're going to be busy unpacking, just have some food delivered on me, little things like that. So you just tailor it to the people.
That's nice touch.
I love that.
Okay, so right there, you're ahead of 99.4% of your business. And now you've created a pipeline of future business, your repeat and referral. It's going to be more robust than most people due to the things you've done. You're memorable, you've done nice things, you created that relationship, which is what we're all about. So that kind of leads into what you and I have talked about a little bit, your 20 buckets of business. What I like to talk to agents about is have more than one way to skin the cat. Have 4 legs to your stool. You should have 4 silos, whatever you want to call it, at least 4 ways in which you attract business to grow your business. You've trumped me by 5 times by talking about 20 buckets, and we won't go through all of those. Some are probably proprietary and they need to figure it out. But one that you can share that will resonate with our fellow REMAX agents and those that are not REMAX agents. You might find interesting is one of the values that we all have at REMAX is that we have a ton of tools and resources and great groups and agents in 110 countries, and you're intentional about relationships with them. And because of that, you've developed probably the best outbound and inbound referral network just within the system, not including your past clients, the civilians, so to speak. I know that you've been involved in different groups, different Facebook groups, different groups with REMAX. You've been a speaker, both at R4, our big international convention in Las Vegas, but also regional events. You've been awarded a lot of different things. You give back your time, and again, very intentionally. I don't want to steal thunder. I just named a few of those. But can you go in depth into your methods on referrals?
Yeah, I think it's super important. So obviously, after 33 years, I know a lot of the players around the country and around the world, quite honestly. And I think that building on those relationships are critical. It could be calling 5 to 10 of them a week. Hey, how's business where you are? It could be creating mastermind groups. It's going to R4. It's going to the special dinners people open up for invitation. It can be the Facebook forums, going to luxury, going to the elite conference if you qualify. I go to all of these things, and if I'm asked to speak, I speak. I am not a speaker by training. I am very nervous to speak, which shocks a lot of people that know me. But I do it because I'm challenging myself at this point. Now, at this point in my life, I'm trying to do things that I'm not comfortable with so that I can get better at it. But I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, which was the best referral year I've ever had, I paid out $167,000 in broker fees for referrals. Now do the math. $167,000 was 25% of the gross. So over
Money well
$400,000.
spent. Like you say, better than spending it on Zillow.
Yes. And the events were all a tax write-off. Going to Lake Tahoe recently, or just 2 weeks ago, being in Napa for a week and going on line tours with a closed group of 15. That's how you get to know people. You don't have to go to the big dinners of 60 and 80 people. Go to the dinners where there are 10 to 15 and you can actually get close to people and have real conversation. Even at R4, there's about 6 of us. We go and have the pit boss open our own blackjack table. You know, I mean, what better way to learn people and meet people? And one of those people who taught me really well how to play craps, he just closed a deal for me in Denver, Colorado in 2 weeks' time. I just sold the mother's condo. It's closing next week. And she just referred her sister to me, who I was out with yesterday. So these relationships really do keep multiplying. You just have to nurture them. And it's less expensive than Zillow. It's less time than trying to work a cold lead and call them 8 to 10 times before they respond and drip on them 100 times. These are real proven methods to success. And I feel now my biggest goal is to really work on my outbound referrals. I know I need 20 outbound to between 20 and 30 to make $100,000 a year off outbound. That's one of my buckets for next year. Wow. I want to hit the goal of $100,000 in income on outbound referrals.
Wow.
I know the averages are. I know what I have to do to get there.
And you do that. You look at our investment to be part of the REMAX network, and you think that is a great return on an investment.
Oh, yeah. That covers all the expenses, right?
Yeah, forever. Yeah, that's exciting.
So, Karen, I have a quick question about that. How did those ideas about really just sinking your teeth into the vast referral network that is the REMAX system, for example, how did that come to you? Most people think, oh, yeah, I work by referral, but this is like major leagues, like next level networking with people that most probably wouldn't think twice about doing. But how did that come to you?
To be honest, it was very organic, and it can be organic for anyone. All they have to do is get out there and start talking to people and meeting people and really just coming face to face as much as you can, whether it's brokers, whether it's lenders. I've got lenders. I've got a lender right now in Arizona. He's given me 2 outbound referrals in the last 6 weeks. Karen, who do you know here? Who do you know here? Because I know you have a high network. So now he calls me every time there's an unrepresented buyer because he's selfish in the regard that he knows I'm going to put him in touch with someone who's going to close it and he's going to get the application and close a loan. So now we become business partners, right? So now he's a referral source.
Brilliant.
There's one bucket.
Yeah.
Okay. When I talk about my 20 buckets, my lenders who are licensed in multiple states, those are part of my buckets. And you've got to give them things now and then too, because you want them to keep referring to you. But when you can give someone confidence that they're going to benefit, that's when you're going to benefit. I've got a lender here in Boston that he's told me, he goes, Karen, I know if I give you a pre-approval on Friday, you're going to have an application on my desk on Monday. Because and he even said, I won't get in the car with you because I know I'll buy a second house if I'm in the car with you. So those are the relationships that are super important, and treat those people special too. I use Norman Love chocolates. They're hand painted chocolates. If a past client, a lender, anyone gives me a referral, then they get the chocolates automatically, whether I get the deal or not, because I want to be top of mind. I want them to keep thinking of me for the next one, because you never know. You just don't.
I've been told
They say a way to a man's heart is through his stomach, right? Probably a woman as well. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, I know that would sell me.
I've been told that when one walks with you around R4 in the hotel, that they're either annoyed or they feel like they're walking with royalty because there's, hey, Karen, are you going to be at the breakout session over here? Hey, Karen, your speech yesterday was awesome. Yeah, so it's practice what you preach, and it comes back.
Because for family, I see people around the country more than I see people in my own town. And that's not a lie. It's the truth.
Yeah. Wow. I really appreciate you coming on today and sharing some of these things. Is there anything that's on your heart that you think that might be helpful to a struggling agent right now, in addition to these great ideas you already shared?
I think being present isn't just face to face. I am a very huge proponent of using Facebook as a tool. It's free. You can gain so much insight and connect with so many people. I feel for me, having been in this business for so long, there are so many past clients that I've started friending. I always friend people that I sell a home to almost immediately. And I think that's super important because you want to be in front of them all the time. And I have what I call the 5 Ds, which is diploma, death, diamonds, diapers, and what was the other one? I did write them down so I won't forget. Diapers and divorce. Those 5 Ds are life changes. Every single time I see someone has a baby, they get a little Noah's Ark or other piggy bank, a sterling silver piggy bank from Personalization Mall, and I put the baby's name on it, engraved, and it has a note, and I try to make it an endearing note. And it says, Zoe, it's never too early to start saving for a home.
Yeah.
Love, Auntie Karen. And that's the
Oh.
important part.
That's your moniker with this. Yes, Auntie.
I just made myself part of their family. And I've gotten every single listing and new sale for every piggy bank I have sent. That's 2 transactions.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
So I think you have to listen to people's needs, notice their changes. You're putting yourself in front of them every time you post. Make sure you have a business page. I share from my business page to my personal page. I comment a lot on my clients' posts themselves so they know I care. But be aware of their life important changes, because that's when they're going to need you to be their consultant. And I use HomeBot. That's another one of my buckets. When I see the top 10 every week, I write personal notes. Hey, just want to see how you're liking home. If there's any changes to your home you've made that could alter your pricing, please let me know. I'd be happy to adjust it for you. That's super important. I have a team member that didn't do that. She saw that the price was lower than what she thought. She had been courting this guy for 2 years to sell his house. And then she noticed he listed his house for more than his home lot price, but less than what she was going to tell him. And I'd been telling her, call him. She didn't call him. He listed with somebody else. She could have gotten him more money than even that somebody else. So be present, be intentional, but be sincere. That's the one thing I have to say. Be sincere.
Very good.
I love that. I love that too, because sometimes though you have a method to what you do, that doesn't take away from the sincerity of that. And I see, as you're explaining your system and process of how you go about your different buckets and your relationships with your clients, though it's very organized and consistent, it doesn't take away from the fact that your heart's absolutely in it, and it shows. And I think that is important for anybody to hear that. Again, when we're talking about the experience, hospitality, relationship, prioritizing people and standing out, I think what's important is to show that you're willing to put some skin in the game, even if it's something as simple as a bottle of wine or moving boxes. That still, again, is another tangible way that they're remembering that you care more. You care about them more than just getting a paycheck. And again, that pays dividends down the road, and your business is a testament to that.
Yeah, no, and it's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun, and you can make it really simple. People are like, oh my gosh, you shop for every single sale. If you do it all in bulk right up front and you see you running low on something, next time you're at a store, just grab a few extra and stick it on your shelf. You're ready to go. And then when you're really busy the day before closing, you don't have to go shopping. All you have to do is start pulling things off the shelf. It's like my own little inventory. It's like Chris having her staging inventory, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but in a different way. But you can systematize what you're doing in such a way that it's time effective. I'm a huge person on time efficiency. That's probably one of my biggest pet peeves, going back to Howard Britton and the story of the pig. But I really believe in saving time. And when you're prepared and ready, you're more confident.
Yeah.
You walk into a listing presentation, I'm confident. I have my pre-listing packages. I pick my guest up along the way. Oh, and I have beautiful stationery that's monogrammed with my name on it. I keep them in my car with stamps. So the second I leave a listing presentation, a handwritten note is written. I include something about the meeting. Oh, it was great to meet your son, Joey. He seems really excited about the move. You don't want them to think you pre-wrote it, because you're going to mail it before you ever go home. Okay, that's the critical piece. I recently did a listing appointment in Pasadena. I had the card already ready. It was mailed at the closest post office to the house so that they got it that much quicker. Want to make sure you write something about the meeting so they know it was not pre-written. Real fast, they're going to think.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's those little touches. People don't write handwritten notes as much anymore.
Yeah.
But that's part of keep wowing them over and over again. I even have a client that I just signed a purchase and sale with in Boston today, and they were referred by their sister and brother-in-law that bought from me during COVID. And I just sold their condo, sold them another house, and now I just sold the brother and sister-in-law. And as soon as I got the referral from them, they got the chocolates. And they're like, oh my gosh, Karen, every time we turn around, you're giving us something. You don't have to do this. I'm like, no, we don't understand. I really appreciate it. So it does mean something to these people. They got the piggy bank too, by the way. So they've become a $3 million client just in the transactions in the past month.
Wow.
Yeah.
If we could just teach all of our agents to do most of what you just talked about, the multiplicity of greatness that would be out there within the communities would be phenomenal, and they would enjoy their daily walk much better.
Yeah.
Because, as you say, you do the right thing, you feel better about yourself, you have more confidence, you're going to get the next listing, you're going to serve the people, and they're going to build raving fans for them to build their future. Yeah.
And I think last thing to add on to that too, everybody not only enjoys receiving a gift, but it also feels good to watch their faces light up when they receive that.
Yeah.
And it's one thing, again, to help somebody with the most significant financial decision that they're going to be making in their lives, arguably. And another thing to make, like you said, them feel wowed every step of the way and light up with, oh my gosh, you don't have to do this. Mm-hmm. But knowing in your heart, you love doing that. You love that part of the process. And again, it just, like you said, it helps make it fun. It makes it personal. It makes it more than just, I got to take care of the repair requests, or I got to deal with this and that. And it goes from just being the monotonous administrative aspects or whatever it may be to this really is, I'm auntie, I'm a friend. And this is something that you could tell is so part of your heart. So I really appreciate everything that you shared.
Even the couple I was just talking about that I just sold and I worked with the family, they just got engaged 2 weeks ago. So when I was showing them this weekend, I showed up with a bottle of champagne and a card. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. They're still in that right? Their excitement, and they're buying a new house together, and she's starting a new job. And they're just so excited. So keep that momentum going of them being excited, because that's what keeps bringing these referrals. I'm telling you, they're just so appreciative that you're appreciating them.
Well said. Very good. Thanks again so much. We appreciate you, and we can't wait to see you in person soon. So
Yes, I'll be back soon.
thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule.
Thank you for having me, gentlemen.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks.